Welcome to the Deep Dive. We unpack complex stories, give you the shortcuts, make sure you're well informed. Today, think about this. Relentless ambition, deep betrayals, a war brewing. All in the world of pro wrestling. Sounds pretty intense, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's got all the drama, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at AEW Dynamite results, recaps from April and May 2025, leading right up to the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. And it's fascinating how these recaps show these really intricate, character-driven stories. It's way more than just wins and losses.
Yeah, totally. So our mission for you listening is to really dig deep into these recaps. We'll pull out the key insights, the important bits. Think of it like your backstage pass to understanding the drama, the long game storytelling that really defined those couple of months in AEW. We're going to look at what happened, sure, but also how they pulled off this incredible storytelling. So let's get into it.
Okay, so kicking off in April 2025, right away, the AEW World Championship scene just explodes with intrigue. Drew Galloway, he starts the month as a new champion, but his reign immediately challenged.
And guess who? MJF, of course, steps right up, demands a non-title match against Drew, says he wants to prove he's, quote, still the guy. Drew accepts. And it was a fight, a real war. But Drew, he wins it clean. You'd think that might settle things down. Nope. This is where it gets layered.
Exactly. That's what makes it so good right from the start. The chaos after the match. CM Punk attacks Drew. That sparks this bigger thing, pulls in the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. And it wasn't just random fighting. It felt deliberate, part of the story. Then Mr. Johnson, the authority figure, he steps in, sets up a contract signing, Punk versus Omega. And he says specifically, one more fight, then it's over. That signals right away this isn't just another match. It's an ending. High stakes, real world tension bleeding in.
Right. And that contract signing? Week 2. Yeah. Wow. Pure gasoline on the fire. Kenny Omega brings up Colt Cabana, and you can just feel the rage from Punk. Flips the table, lunges at Omega. Drew Galloway actually has to step in and break it all up. Then Mr. Johnson lays down the law. Punk versus Omega, battle of the belts, 2 weeks, and this killer rule. If anyone interferes, you're fired. Yeah. I mean, talk about raising the stakes.
And foreshadowing trouble, right?
Oh, absolutely. Masterclass in building tension. And that Battle of the Belts match in week 4, it delivered 25 minutes. Punk and Omega, just a war. And crucially, no interference because of that rule. Ends with a GTS from Punk. That's his go-to-sleep finisher. But here's the really interesting bit, narratively speaking. The aftermath. Punk stares down Drew Galloway, the champion, as he enters. No words, but it screams, I'm coming for that title. And then backstage, MJF attacks Drew with a chain, and Punk just walks right past it. Smirks. That smirk. Yeah. Perfect show, don't tell storytelling. Suddenly, Punk isn't just the returning hero. Maybe he's aligned with Tucker's stuff. Instantly makes you question his motives, builds that intrigue. And just when you think it can't get crazier, Kazuchika Okada appears, picks up the AEW title Drew dropped, just holds it, stares. That silent challenge, wow, it spoke volumes. Set the whole stage for May, didn't it?
It really did. And Mr. Johnson, he didn't waste any time. Week 1 of May, he announces it. Triple threat, #1 contender match. Yeah. CM Punk versus Kazuchika Okada versus MJF. Winner faces Drew at Double or Nothing, and Drew says he'll be watching. Adds that personal stake for the champ,
And right away, week 1, Okada puts on a clinic. Beats Darby Allin in this amazing 20-minute technical match. There's this moment of respect after a nod. Makes it even more shocking when MJF just blindsides both of them with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. His signature loaded fist cheat weapon thing. Classic AJF heel move. Back in the villain spotlight.
And what's cool is how MJF plays that heel role, but with layers. Week 2, he cuts this classic arrogant promo. Says he made Punk, outclassed Okada, gonna embarrass Drew, all bravado. But then Punk interrupts, just calmly reminds him, I already buried you once. And then Okada just gives him this cold, silent stare. And that seems to rattle MJF more than anything Punk said.
Shows you the psychology, right?
Yeah.
For all his talk, MJF is still kind of haunted by these guys.
So that #1 contender match in week 3, huge anticipation. And the result, Okada wins. But, and this is key, only because Punk and MJF start arguing mid-match. Basically cost each other the win. Then they brawl after the match, and Drew Galloway comes out, stares down Okada. Just pure intensity, stage set, charged. Ready for Double or Nothing? Yeah, that intensity just carried right through to the go-home show, week 4 of May. Drew and Okada, face-to-face in the ring, starts with a handshake, but then it turns into this power struggle. Okada won't let go, non-verbal warfare showing his intent. Then, bam, lights go out. Mil Muertes symbol flashes on the screen, teasing his arrival, adding this whole other, supernatural, ominous layer to the main event. Shifts the whole show's vibe.
And Double or Nothing, the main event itself, just epic. Drew Galloway defended against Okada over 30 minutes. They called it pure wrestling storytelling, and it really was. Okada pushed Drew right to the edge. Looked like he might hit the Rainmaker, his big lariat finish. But Drew counters into the Claymore kick, that running boot, 1, 2, 3. Galloway retains clean. And afterwards, that nod of mutual respect. Just perfect championship match stuff. Athleticism, story, payoff, everything.
Absolutely, and connecting it back to the bigger story of that post-show scene backstage. Punk and MJF, so important for what's next. Punk's all bandaged up, still furious from his own match earlier, confronts MJF, who's just smirking, and MJF delivers maybe the line of the whole 2 months, "You still don't get it. I'm the devil who never stopped believing I was God." Chilling. Officials have to pull them apart as Punk lunges. It just highlights how deep and personal, almost existential their rivalry is. It's not just a feud, it's a saga. More conflict is definitely coming.
It's perfectly put, a saga. Okay, so beyond the world title, we have to talk about the final war, brotherhood, betrayal, and that brutal steel cage. The seeds for this were planted early April, right? Week 1, when the Bucks and Omega got involved in that whole Punk True Chaos.
Yeah, and that contract signing, week 2, Punk versus Omega, it really brought out those deep tensions. Omega mentioning Colt Cabana was well. It was a brilliant move. Tapped into all that real-life stuff, made the story feel intensely personal, almost uncomfortably real. And Punk winning clean at Battle of the Belts in week 4, that just poured more fuel on the fire, set things up for a major escalation.
And May, things just went into hyperdrive. Week 1, the Young Bucks barely keep their tag titles, and you can see the cracks forming. Matt's getting cocky, Nick looks frustrated. Then Kenny Omega confronts them backstage. Big red flag about the trust in their group, tells them, "You're letting it go to your heads again." And right then, CMFTR, that's CM Punk and FTR, they interrupt, challenge Omega and the Bucks, steel cage match, double or nothing, and Kenny just smirks, deal. Felt like a point of no return for them, didn't it?
Totally. And the way they promoted it was fascinating from a storytelling angle. They had this promo package that actually used footage of that real-life brawl incident as subtext, really hammered home the themes: legacy, betrayal, brotherhood, scars, both emotional and, well, maybe physical. It directly linked the story in the ring to what the audience knew or thought they knew from outside, made the stakes feel incredibly real.
FTR wasn't waiting, though. Week 2, they challenged the Bucks for the tag titles before the cage match. Basically say, we beat you next week, then we beat you in the cage too. And that Trios video package for the cage match, super stylized, locked doors, barbed wire visuals, and that tagline, no escape, no lies, no forgiveness, chilling. Promise something final.
And wow, did they deliver. Week 3, Young Bucks versus FTR for the tag titles. People called it a 30-minute match of the year candidate. Seriously, FTR wins clean, huge crowd reaction, Punk raises their hands. But the crucial story beat, Matt Jackson walks out on Nick afterwards, total frustration. The Elite cracking wide open.
So Mr. Ness, that makes it official. Double or nothing. Spiel cage. CM Punk and FTR versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And the go-home show, week 4, just drove home how fractured the Elite were. They had this 6-man tag preview match, Omega and Nick. But Matt never shows up. FTR and Punk get the win, pin Nick. Commentary nailed it. The Elite fractured and the Wolves are circling. Perfect storm brewing. The cage match itself at Double or Nothing, described as bloody, violent, cathartic, said the real-life resentment poured out. You felt it. And the pivotal moment, classic wrestling twist. Punk hits the GTS on Kenny. Looks like it's over. But then, shocker, MJF slips into the cage through the door, clocks Punk with the dynamite diamond ring. Kenny gets the pin. That interference, it wasn't just about the win. It was this calculated betrayal. Throws everything into chaos again. Who's MJF really working for? Who benefits? So many questions. Devastating moment. And after the match, Kenny looks genuinely pissed off, like he didn't want MJF's help. But the Bucks, smug, satisfied. FTR rushes to Punk, who's bleeding, seething. It wasn't just physical. It felt like this symbolic shattering of trust. Even in a final war, new enemies pop up, right? Exactly. Now, moving away from those big rivalries for a sec, we also saw some really dark shifts in tone, more psychological stuff. The Witch faction, for instance. They made their presence felt immediately in April. Very unsettling. Yeah, that first vignette, week 1. Katrina talking to a mirror, China crushing his skull with bare hands, and Katrina whispering, "One champion will fall, another will rise." Super creepy. Set a really dark supernatural tone right away.
And it kept building. Week 3, another vignette. Katrina, Albafire, Isla Dawn, doing some kind of ritual, whispering sacrifice while a doll representing Awesome Kong, burns in a fire. That wasn't just atmosphere, it was direct foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Because week 3 of May, China attacks Awesome Kong backstage, leaves her unconscious. Katrina follows up, says ominously, one by one, the balance is erased. Then on the go-home show, Katrina declares, one more legend, one more solo. Then the ritual begins. And then we find out, China versus the returning legend Victoria at Double or Nothing.
And at Double or Nothing, China just dominates Victoria. It was unsettling. Yeah. She completely no-sells Victoria's finisher, the Widow's Peak, then just military presses her off the stage. Showed this almost inhuman strength, zero vulnerability. And the post-match, even wilder. Candles light up. Arena goes dim. Mil Muertes returns, covered in scars, proclaims, I have died 1,000 deaths. I will die 1,000 more. This is not your world. It is ours. Super intense. Katrina appears behind him, talks to Mr. Johnson. In the summer draft, I will speak. The undead belong to us, and we will bring them home. Reality is infected, and we will cleanse it. Ends with China kneeling before Mil. A dark, new power faction is here. It's fascinating world building. Bringing in these supernatural elements creates a totally unique threat.
And speaking of dark transformations, Toni Storm's whole storyline, her descent into madness, the eerie return, that was like a psychological thriller playing out. Week 2 of April, we see Toni in an asylum, shot in black and white like an old film reel. She's clearly delusional, giving an award speech to nobody. Saraya visits. Toni doesn't even recognize her until Saraya desperately slaps her to try and snap her out of it. Toni just breaks down sobbing. What's insightful here is how they showed it, using those extreme visuals, the asylum, the black and white, to represent her internal struggle. It's a really unique way to handle a character breakdown. Goes way beyond typical wrestling angles.
Yeah, really unsettling. Then that vignette in week 4. Tony's staring in a mirror asking, who is she? And her reflection smiles back. Then a nurse whispers, she's coming, hinting at this darker persona taking over. By week 2 of May, she's released into Saraya's care. But she's eerily calm now. Says, I'm ready to act again. Just chilling.
The go-home show. Tony's walking the halls, full black and white outfit, issues an open challenge to any woman who thinks reality matters, challenging reality itself. And at Double or Nothing, she faces Saraya, who comes out wearing Tony's old gear, acting like the old Tony, deliberately trying to mess with her head. And it works. Tony snaps, just pummels Saraya, wins the match. But the real kicker, the tragedy, is after the match, she just breaks down crying again, whispers, you can't be me, I don't even know who I am. Wins the match, but is completely lost, leaves you feeling pathos, not victory. Really powerful stuff.
Then you had that volatile triangle. Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Darby Allin. Felt very personal, very messy from the start. Week 1 of April, Liv jumps the barricade, brawls with Alexa at ringside. Commentary hints Darby and Liv have this very personal past. Darby tries to separate them, looks totally conflicted. You know it's complicated.
So intense that their week 2 match ends in a double countout. Wild brawl ringside, security pulling them apart, and Darby just watches from the ramp. Still conflicted. Highlights his unwilling role in all this drama. Week 3, mixed tag match. MVP interferes. Alexa gets pinned. Afterwards, Liv attacks Alexa backstage. But not just about the match loss. She blames Alexa for everything that went wrong in her life. Elevates it way beyond wrestling. It's deeply personal, accusatory.
And it got even more intense. Week 4 April, Liv grabs Darby's face backstage. Tells him, chillingly, she never loves you. I still do. Confirms the romance angle, puts Darby right in the middle. By week 3 of May, they do this split-screen interview. Alexa says, he doesn't love you. Liv counters, he did once, and Darby says nothing. His silence just screams internal conflict. Then they sign the Falls Count Anywhere match for Double or Nothing. No rules. Promised a brutal end to this emotional mess.
And it was brutal. Double or Nothing, Liv versus Alexa, described as dirty, emotional, brutal, really pushed boundaries. Darby stayed away, tellingly, until the very end, adds to his whole conflicted character arc. Liv wins, spears Alexa through a table after throwing her off some big prop tower. Crazy spot. Post-match, Liv crawls over to Darby at ringside, bleeding but smiling. Darby still says nothing. That choice, his paralysis, is so powerful. Liv whispers, you still love me, then collapses, laughing. A really disturbing, unresolved ending, leaves you feeling uneasy, suggests some wounds just don't heal, even with a win.
Maybe the most heartbreaking story, though, across these 2 months. Christian Cage, Edge, Hook, and Taz. The whole family drama. Just gut-wrenching. The manipulation started early April. Slow burn psychological stuff. Week 2, Christian and Edge introduce Hook as their true legacy. Hook himself says, Taz gave me rules, you gave me power. And Taz, on commentary, just quiet, sad. You can see he knew what was happening.
Edge and Christian really turned the screws. Week 3, April, manipulating Hook, saying Taz abandoned him. We're making you into something that lasts. Classic villainy, playing on Hook's loyalty, his ambition. Taz, who's usually so tough, cuts this rare, really raw promo. Week 3 says, Hook, you're still my son, but I won't let you become them. So much pain there. Christian interrupts on screen, chillingly just says, "You already lost him." Oof. Then Battle of the Belts, week 4. Hook directly interferes, helps Christian beat Miro, retain the TNT title. Taz storms the ring, but Hook just stops him cold. No violence, just this cold, defiant stare. Then leaves with Christian. That was the moment the tie was visibly severed.
And by week 2 of May, it seemed. Final. Hook beats Rey Fenix with Christian's help, showing his new corrupted way. Taz watches backstage, quietly just says, "He's gone." The resignation in his voice, just awful to hear. The Double or Nothing match, truly a heartbreaker. Christian with Hook and Killswitch against Taz. Taz comes out of retirement just for one night. Crowd went nuts for Taz. Huge pop. He even locked in the Taz mission. His signature chokehold. Huge near fall. You felt the hope in the building.
But Christian, typical heel, low blow behind the ref's back, gets the win. And the post-match beatdown was just brutal. The final act of betrayal. Hook hits Taz with Taz's own FTW title. The symbol of his legacy. Blood everywhere. An edge. The manipulator watches from the ramp, then just coldly walks away. Zero empathy. Commentary captured the horror. "That's his father!" The crowd disrupted. "You sick F chants." It was profound betrayal. Family destroyed. Almost Shakespearean, Showed the destructive power of ambition, manipulation. Heavy stuff.
Wow. Yeah, heavy is right. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Beyond those main stories, we also had incredible action in the women's title scene and a really strong tag team resurgence. Jade Cargill versus Mercedes Moné, no holds barred, absolute highlight. Started back in week 1, April. Jade and MVP welcome Mercedes to their new group, the Hurt Syndicate. But right away, commentary notes, tension already visible between Jade and Mercedes, foreshadowing.
And Swerve Strickland, Jade's ally, immediately called out MVP. Said the group wasn't about MVP, but about Jade and his new toy, Mercedes. Told MVP to stay out of his way. MVP's reply? "Stick around, Swerve, my boy. You'll like where this goes." Hinted at some deeper game, maybe manipulation from MVP. Then in that mixed tag, week 3 MVP interferes, causes Alexa to get pinned. Swerve shoves MVP afterwards, walks off. Clear cracks forming in the Hurt Syndicate. That internal friction, its effective storytelling, creates layers of conflict within one group.
Mercedes Moné, meanwhile, beats Athena in week 3, April. Just puts on a clinic, shows how good she is, then grabs the mic, announces she's cashing in her title shot against Jade at Double or Nothing. Boom. Rivalry fully ignited. Go home show. They have a mixed tag. Mercedes and Swerve versus Jade and MVP. Tension just explodes. Mercedes pins MVP. Then Mercedes and Jade brawl immediately after. Jade puts Mercedes through a table. Their title match now officially no holds barred. Promised pure chaos.
And Double or Nothing delivered on that promise. No holds barred. Brutal and hard hitting. Kendo sticks, chairs. They even teased a flaming table spot. Huge tension. Mercedes kicks out of Jade's finisher. Jaded, that big sit-out bomb. Kicked out at 2. Show incredible resilience. But Jade eventually gets the win. Powerbomb through steel chairs. Ouch. And MVP holds Jade's arm up like he just won the lottery. Totally highlights his self-serving role in all this, even with the group falling apart.
And we also saw the Kabuki Warriors versus Toxic Attraction. That feud really felt like it brought back some honor, maybe? And great athleticism to the women's tag division. Week 2, April, Kairi-san beats JC Jane. Then post-match, Asuka returns. Huge pop from the crowd. They declare their back to fight Toxic Attraction, specifically for dishonoring tag wrestling. That's a great motivation for a feud, right?
Absolutely. Gives them a clear purpose. And at Battle of the Belts, week 4, April, Kabuki Warriors beat Toxic Attraction, win the women's tag titles, hard-fought match. Asuka cuts this great promo after "We came back to fight, not just for belts, but for honor." Really underscores their mission, positions them as the valiant defenders of tag team wrestling. Double or Nothing, another solid tag match. Kairi pins JC with the insane elbow, her big top rope elbow drop, and Asuka Miss Gigi post-match, just for disrespect, puts a final stamp on that rivalry.
Okay, before we wrap this all up, gotta mention the Double or Nothing pre-show match too. The Acclaimed versus the Nemeth Brothers, described as a fun, crowd-pleasing opener. And it sounded like it. Got the crowd super energized, Acclaimed win, crowd goes wild, huge Scissor Me Vegas chant. Perfect way to kick things off, build that excitement before all the heavy drama started.
Yeah, exactly. And that sense of chaos, of everything coming to a head, was perfectly captured in that final segment of the Go Home Show, week 4, May. Just a masterclass in building anticipation for the pay-per-view. All the main players converge. Drew and Okada squaring off. Punk and MJF brawling out into the crowd. The Bucks and Omega storming the ring. FTR meeting them there. And the camera pulls back. Commentary declares, "There is no order left. Only war. What a final image, powerful, apocalyptic almost, perfectly set the stage for the conflicts at Double or Nothing. So if we kind of pull all these threads together, connected to the bigger picture, you can really see how these 2 months of AEW TV built this incredibly rich tapestry, all these interwoven stories, touching on, ambition, psychological torment, families breaking apart, fighting for honor, using both classic wrestling ideas and some really innovative narrative stuff. It wasn't just week-to-week booking, it was a grand evolving story.
Totally. So what does this all mean for you listening? If you're curious about complex, long-form storytelling, well, you've basically gotten a shortcut here. An inside look at a masterclass in character development, strategic world building, multi-layered narratives playing out on episodic TV. We went beyond just the wins and losses to see how they crafted and delivered these really intricate stories.
And maybe this leaves you with something to think about. In a world where, as commentary put it, reality is infected and there's no order left, only war, what does it actually mean to find your place or even figure out your identity when you're surrounded by that kind of profound chaos?